All right, today's a good day for a listener question. The question is, I recently got my first USPSA classification, which is C class, and I'm wondering what your dry fire routine looks like. Maybe it could help me move up through the ranks. Well, let's talk about what my daily dry fire looks like. I can't give you one list of drills or anything because it's probably never the same from day to day. So I'll give you some ideas and themes. For dry fire, it's going to be, for me, 30 minutes the most. And by the reason for concluding the things at 30 minutes is my hands will have had enough, or mentally will have had enough. One way, either my hands are chewed up or I'm about to rage quit. Because dry fire training, regardless of whatever the drills are, I am of the mindset you should constantly nitpick yourself, which I know I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm sorry. But if you do whatever the drill is, the repetition, and you're just a little bit unhappy, a little bit perpetually dissatisfied, the dot didn't quite stop at the right spot, you didn't quite move your hands immediately as soon as the beep or the start signal sounded, your support hand wasn't quite in the right spot, the pressures weren't quite right. I wish I would have had the sight stop a little bit cleaner on this target. I could have done this a little bit better. I could have done that a little bit better. If you keep chipping away at all those little pieces, it goes, well, honestly, farther than most people realize. Because if you're kind of always happy with your dry fire, or if it turns into a checking the box thing where 3 days a week for 20 minutes I do this thing, it's kind of easy to get complacent, check out, and the next thing you know, you end up kind of going through the motions. So for dry fire, I think it should be when you are honestly feeling it, or when it works out for you. If you're a morning person, dry fire in the morning. For many years, like probably 5+ years, that was the first thing I did when I got home from work. Get home from work, like if you have to bring in the mail or get a snack or whatever, and then like dry fire was the first thing I did. Before I played video games with the boys, mowed the yard, did some house project, ran some errand. Unless it was something time sensitive or a commitment I had to do. Otherwise, dry fire was just the first thing I did. Something I would look forward to, and then I made sure I always got it done. Because otherwise, if I'm gaming with the boys, the next thing you know, it's midnight and it's time for bed, and I didn't dry fire, but I'll just make up for it tomorrow. It's easy to fall into that pitfall, and if it's something that you've prioritized or you want to make a big move as far as skill goes, something you have to stick to the program on. So it was something I looked forward to doing. I'm a little bit crazy in the way that I actually like practice, live fire and dry fire. So it's something I look forward to, something I was engaged and enjoyed doing, and it was something I was good every single day, putting 30 minutes into it, which doesn't sound like a crazy amount of time, but it ends up being a very meaningful difference over the years. So within that 30 minutes, what do you do, or how do you know what to do? I think 3 to 5 minutes per drill is plenty, and sometimes it will seem like an eternity. Let me give you an example of a drill. One of the drills we really like, trigger control at speed. What this one is my gun's aimed at the target. My finger is not in contact with the trigger. So I got just a little bit of daylight. I'm waiting for the beep. On the start signal, I'm going to mash the trigger immediately and try to not have the sight move at all. Nothing. So doing that, I'm like, oh, that was good. And I do it again. I'm like, oh, that was too slow. Oh, I did it. That was pretty good, but maybe it could have been a little bit better. Let me try it again. Oh, that was delayed. I pushed it just a little bit, just like the tiny little bit. I didn't mean to do that. I'm irritated I did that. You get the idea, but you keep chipping away at like every little repetition. You just kind of like, you don't have to even verbalize it, but just mentally you're like paying attention to every little detail, and you keep nitpicking everything you do. Again, not a motivational speaker, but continuing to just assess every single repetition, just doing that little drill, 3 to 5 minutes is an eternity. Another drill similar to that, and the amount of time it takes, is just draw the gun to sight picture and just assess, does the sight go exactly where you're looking? Are your hands in just the right spot? Did the sight go up past the target and then come down? Or did it stop low and then you watch the dot and followed it up? You know, all the little things you could critique yourself. Doing that 3 to 5 minutes seems like an eternity. So, again, 3 to 5 minutes per drill, 30 minutes total is what I'm looking at. The important parts are making sure you grip the gun just the way you would when you're shooting live ammo. I use dummy rounds in the magazines that are separate in my dry fire area to make sure I don't have any live ammunition that accidentally gets confused. So the guns and the magazines weigh what they will when I'm firing live ammo. And then for skills, there are some like hard skills or set skills like that I like doing, where I just like do the draw to sight picture. I really like the trigger control at speed, where you hear the beep and mash the trigger immediately. I really like that. But I also do a lot of variable setup stuff. So for example, target transitions, anywhere from 3 to 5 targets, whether it's partials, full targets, close, actually far in depth, moving them around my basement, my dry fire area, steel, like simulated steel targets, going through those while I press the trigger on each target, then also going through those where I just assess the way the sight stops on each target, like did it go exactly to the middle, did I watch the sight, all those little things. So you could do that with pressing the trigger, without pressing the trigger. You could add movement in between. So shoot a couple targets, do a mag change, move to another position, shoot a couple targets, or shoot some targets, shoot more on the move while you're getting to the second position. Maybe you shoot some targets, move to the second spot, have to simulate like entering a fault line or getting somewhere before you start shooting them. The possibilities are kind of endless. So the structured drills are good for getting going, like the L-Pres or the accelerator or the 4 aces, one where you draw and shoot two alphas, mag change, shoot 2 alphas. It's fun. It's something to not become obsessed with and not you hang your hat on just being like the gun handling guy. But it's something like good to test yourself on. The L-Pres setup's really good, where it's 3 targets simulated 7 yards away, simulated a yard apart, and working on just a multitude of things. It could be gun handling, it could be target transitions. You could change up the order you shoot them in, whatever. But anyway, I like the structured drills are good for getting people started. Once you get to a point where you're up and doing the training, you understand the drills, then I like the variable setup stuff, because it's never the same any 2 times. You get to the point where you might have a good idea of how long it's going to take, but it's something that you haven't done before. It's a fresh challenge, and then you can kind of just work on whatever little nuances or challenge that target presentation, that wherever you set stuff out at, is for that day or that drill. And then tomorrow, when it's something different, or there's a different presentation, or the targets are way closer tomorrow, and then on Friday they're way farther away, and then it's like that kind of thing, where every little session has a different challenge, a different theme, some way to annoy you. That's good. So I like the variety in the way that I do the variable setups, because it keeps me from getting bored, although revisiting some of the standard ones, like the standard go-to drills over and over, are very good also. Well, hopefully that answers the question, gives you some things to think about. I don't do a thing where it's like gun handling day Monday, target transitions Tuesday, movement Wednesday, anything like that. I kind of just mix them around, and based on what I have coming up, what I did in a match or a demo I saw or a drill I was shooting, something that I took away that I thought needed to get better, or I was annoyed with, or a tendency I noticed, then I just try to set up those same situations in dry fire training and try to work on them. Examples for those would be watching the sight. Maybe on simulated far shooting or partial targets, you notice you stare at the sight a lot. Be good to set up simulated farther distance shooting in your dry fire. Maybe it's really, really close and you feel the tension on where you start throwing the gun at the targets and it's not moving precisely. You can set up that aspect in dry fire. So it's not really one size fits all. I think your dry fire location of the targets and the drills you're practicing should change from day to day. I don't necessarily love like the gym program where it's leg day on Monday and back day or chest day or whatever people that go to the gym do. But I like keep mixing it up. Just kind of trying to be a well-rounded shooter, not good at any one particular area, but good at anything you see as a shooting challenge. So hopefully that answers the question, gives you some things to think about. If you have any questions, drop it below. I tried my best to read through all the comments. If it's easy to respond to in the comments, I'll do that. Otherwise, if I need to make a video, I just screen cap it or add it to a document that I'll just keep chipping away at and adding videos from. So anyway, appreciate you watching. Have a good day.